everyone, and welcome to Mental Health Matters with your host, Dr. Matt Glowiak. I cannot thank you enough for all the positive feedback we've received here since the last two episodes have aired. I'm just getting the feeling here that it definitely helps a lot more to have some hosts. So with that being said, we're going to continue to bring on some great hosts moving forward. Now, as we continue to move along with our theme of mental wellness, today is going to be a topic that's near and dear to my heart and my guest's heart as well. Today we're going to talk about fitness and mental wellness. So I'd like to introduce my guest host, Mr. Eric McCants. Eric?
Hello. Thank you. How you been? Thank you for having me.
Hey, doing great. Thank you so much for making it on here. So you're one of the owners of you're the owner of EMC Training, and
Yes.
you're also a trainer.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am. My training business is in Crest Hill, and I'm glad you got a hold of me for this because I actually deal with this on a daily basis. So thanks for having me.
No, absolutely, and thanks for coming. And one of the things that's really fascinating about this as well is we go way back. We were actually in elementary school together. So Eric is a Bolingbrook native, just like I am, and we were in elementary school, middle school, high school together. And at one point, believe it or not, we were even weight partners. Sophomore year. I'll never forget sophomore year of high school. We were weight partners, and we used to go back and forth with the towel bench to see who was stronger. The time we were pretty equivalent, but as you can see, this guy's got me beat by far in a long shot. So when I saw a lot of the advertisements he was doing for MC Training here, I was just so impressed and so proud of everything he's doing, and I figured this would fit in perfectly with our theme of mental wellness and fitness.
Right, absolutely. So what I think comes as a benefit for fitness and mental wellness, I would say, one, you get the physical aspects of everything. You get the weight loss, losing inches, low blood pressure, and the lower risk of diabetes. So that's the physical, but the mental aspect of it is decreased stress, decreased anxiety. Believe it or not, it actually increases your brain cells too, doing some type of cardiovascular workouts. So, I mean,
well, absolutely, and one of the things that we do continue to talk about too is the mind, body, and spirit connection.
Absolutely.
And we know if there's any issue in one part of that connection, that there can be issues that go to other ones. So I appreciate how you pointed out here, how it can actually reduce stress, it can increase brain cells, and so on and so forth. And just really, having some type of physical fitness regimen can go a really long way with mental health. And I think a lot of people don't really recognize that right away.
No, they really don't, because they come in and the thing that they want to do off the back is, I want to lose weight. And you're like, okay, but are you mentally ready for this? Because I think you just come do a few exercises and that's it. I was like, no, you have to be mentally connected with this. And believe it or not, I actually have clients who tell me, like a few weeks down the road, a few months down the road, and they actually tell me, like, you know what, believe it or not, because of you, I feel better throughout the day. Like, I'm not as stressed. Actually, I'm not going to name this client, but she's a teacher, and she's like, if I didn't come see you, believe it or not, I would be a total, we can blank that part out, throughout the day. So, and I was like, okay. So, I mean, this comes as a benefit. It's not just about working out. It's about actually feeling good throughout the day, raising your endorphin levels. Like I said, keeping the stress low or whatnot. So
absolutely, you're taking a lot of the words out of my mouth here as well. Really great. See how connected we are with this. Well, even taking that simple saying that look great, feel great, and there's so many things that go along with that too. Because as we know, you start to lose some of the weight, you start to see the inches come off. Now all of a sudden you're fitting in clothes that maybe you hadn't fit in years, if not even ever.
Exactly.
And as you start to look good and you're feeling good, you start to carry yourself a little bit differently. You start to look in the mirror with a smile. You start to come with this different type of swagger as you're out in public.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we know with individuals is positivity breeds positivity. People who are more positive, more confident in themselves, attract like people, and it just comes for full circle. So interpersonally, you start to have even better interactions with other people as well, which is quite amazing.
Absolutely. Believe it or not, and I make myself vulnerable, believe it or not, that was me before I started personal training. Years back, I would say more late teens, early 20s. I felt like that person, I didn't have enough self-confidence. And once I actually started seeing myself improving not just my workouts, but I actually saw a difference within my body composition. That is like, wow. I start carrying myself like, hey, you know,
As you should.
chest is up.
Well, absolutely. Well, and I appreciate the thought that you said too, is that the mental component that goes into having some type of workout regimen.
Right.
I'm going back to high school football. I was terrible. I did it for literally 1 year. I was always on the bench. But one of the things I remember the coach used to always say, he's like, football, it's 90% mental, 10% physical. And I didn't really get it at the time. I was like, well, how's that possible? You want the bigger guys up there in front and so on. But it's really true, because in the game of football, we have to come up with intelligent plays, block the right guy, pass to the right receiver who's wide open, and so on and so forth. But the same thing applies here with working out, because you have to have a level of endurance to stick with it.
Absolutely. Not only just to stick with it during, but let's say like you are doing it and then you get to that certain point where you're like, hey, I feel like I look good already. Let me just take a break from it. And it's like, no, that's the worst thing you can do.
That happens
You need
to us
to,
in
yeah,
counseling
you
all
need
the
to do
time.
some
Oh,
type
I
of
feel good, I'm
maintenance.
done.
Yeah, I look good. I met my goal weight. I'm gonna just take a break. It's like, no, we need to keep you here so you can do some type of maintenance work, because if you, it's kind of like psychological, if in a sense. If you stop your regimen and you're like, I'm gonna do it on my own, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna stop everything. Like the stuff that you're doing on the side, your nutrition, um, and you just kind of fall off the wagon from there. So then you come back like, hey, I kind of need to get back on the wagon. So
Oh, absolutely. You can lose it so quickly. Now I've never had a six-pack or anything like that, or eight-pack abs, but from what I've read in the magazines, the men's fitness magazines, I'll get a kick out of some of these actors, bodybuilders, and so on.
Right.
They'll even say, I worked for 6 months to be able to get my abs in this condition. I went on a 1-week all-inclusive, and boom, now I'm a little
Boom.
flabby, and I have to work back to it again. And
Right.
it is amazing how quickly that can go. But one of the things that you said here too is quite relevant, especially in counseling as well. We have to get to the maintenance stage. So one of the things I discussed on a previous show here, we have this thing called the trans theoretical model. We usually discuss this with substance use clients, but I think it pertains to just about anything, even in working out. And with that, we have these different stages. So the first is pre-contemplation.
Right.
So in physical fitness, this might be a person's, I have a healthy lifestyle. I don't need to work out. Nothing's wrong with me. I don't need to do it. I'm not interested. I want to sit on the couch. No, I'm good. Then you get to the point of the contemplation, where it's like, okay, maybe I could benefit a little bit from working out. I don't know if I have the energy to do it. I don't know if I want to do it. It's uncomfortable, but I could see the benefits. I could lose a few pounds. Then you have the person who's actually convinced into it, going to the preparation stage. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come up with a plan. I'm going to walk a mile every single day the first week. I'm going to join MC training and meet Mr. McCants over here. Let him put me into shape, get a good diet. And then we get into the working and the maintenance phase, where we continue to keep at it. And the end of this, and what happens with a lot of people after you get to the maintenance phase, can be the relapse phase.
The relapse.
And in the fitness world, the relapse phase is going to go back to I haven't gone to the gym 3 times a week like normal, so I can only go twice this week. But if I can't go 3 times, why should I go any?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. And then next goes eating healthy, and so on and so forth. And you see a lot of that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then not only when they come back, sometimes when they come back, they're like bigger than what they started. And then we have to have that heart to heart, like, I'm not trying to throw it in your face or whatnot. Like when I told you, like, you should have did a little maintenance phase, but you got to start back from somewhere. So.
No, absolutely. Well, and one of the things too, the yo-yo dieting, where you're heavier, lose a lot of weight, heavier, lose a lot of weight,
Right.
and that's really bad on your heart.
Oh,
really
absolutely.
bad on your heart.
Absolutely. This kind of falls into the whole fad diet thing, like I'm not trying to talk down on them, but the keto diets, the paleo diets, and you try to
fan of those.
you try to tell clients like that's kind of like a fat. I mean, if you want to just jumpstart that way, but don't make that your lifestyle. Make your lifestyle eating just the healthy foods, the healthy fruits, and I mean, I'm not gonna put it out there, but you told me that you just start eating vegetables until you were 26.
20, yeah, thanks for putting that out there. But you told me the same.
All right.
You told me the same.
True.
So thanks to our wives, we actually eat vegetables and we're healthier now. And that was a long road.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, and it is. It is about making that lifestyle change. But the other part of it too is that you should be able to enjoy some cheat days here and there.
Absolutely.
If you work out 4 days a week and you do have a week where I can only go in 3. I mean that should be okay, as long as you get back on track.
Back on it the following week. Absolutely. So, because take me for example. I missed the workout yesterday. I was pushed for times a day, and I was like, well, let me just get a few reps in here and a few reps there. I mean, but I know next week I'll be back to my 5 days a week. So
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even if you're not, you'll get back on track in the next
The
week.
next week.
Make sure you make up for it. And that's just such an important theme in what we do too. Again, the lifestyle change. This isn't a New Year's resolution. And one of the things I love about clients who come in to see me, and like, so what do you want to do this year? What are your goals? And I always go back to that whole thing in my head. If you have more than 3 goals, you have no goals, because you're going to fail at one of them, which drags down everything else.
Absolutely.
So we want to start very practically in what it is that we're trying to do here and have something that's going to be realistically achievable.
Right.
You don't want to go from never even taking a walk to now running a 5K.
No,
we
no,
don't do that,
baby
right?
steps,
We got to trade for
baby
that type of
steps.
thing.
So like if it's take like working out for example, if you can barely do 5 push-ups, let's start off with 2. The next day, try 2 again. The day after that, now try 3.
Okay.
Yeah, steady steps, steady steps.
Steady steps, and that's the way that we make the lifestyle change. One thing that's really beneficial, and you mentioned this earlier here, is in terms of working out and how that can really reduce stress,
Yes.
how it can decrease symptoms of depression and anxiety. And this is one of the things too that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to use depression as an example. So we have a lot of individuals who take psychiatric medication for major depressive disorder and other types of depressive disorders and that. And while there are many cases where that's certainly warranted, there are some other cases where you can really work your way out of the depression by having some type of lifestyle change.
Right.
Research has continued to show time and time again in clinical trials where we had some test subjects versus individuals who were taking medication and then the control. And what we found here is that about 50% of the clients who were equally depressed to those previously who were taking medication were able to get out of their depression just from exercise alone and not having to take the medication as well. And we continue to find this time and time again.
Right.
And one of the things that we see here with this as well is oftentimes with major depressive disorder, especially if we have a chemical imbalance in the brain, is that there's generally going to be some type of issue, with dopamine, serotonin, some of those other neurotransmitters we talk about that won't get too much into here.
Serotonin's a big one.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is with these antidepressant medications, we have SNRIs such as a serotonin, norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor, SSRIs, and so on. And what they're doing is they're actually regulating the amount of serotonin, norepinephrine that's being released into the brain at a given time. But isn't that what exercise does?
Exactly.
Isn't that exactly what exercise does?
Exactly what it does. So, I look at it like this. Before you decide to jump on the medicine, try a different type of medicine, meaning fitness or whatnot. I tell clients that all the time because, I have had clients that came and say, hey, ever since I came to see you, I'm no longer taking my blood pressure medicine, pressure medicine, whatever the case may be, or whatnot. Take me for example. I actually seen a therapist before, or whatnot.
I have too.
Yeah,
I have too, and I'm a therapist.
Right,
it's
and
I recommend
and
it for
believe it or
anybody.
not, it was one of those things where she's like, how are you gonna preach this to people, but you're kind of barely doing it yourself? But once I started doing my own regimen, jumping back on it, I was fine.
Absolutely.
I was fine. And then, of course, you go back to the therapist, and she's like, so how'd it go? And you're like, you're right. You're right. So.
Well, absolutely. And there's so many times where clients will come in to see me, and the response I give them is something quite simple. And sharing what our therapist has said, the one told me, she's like, well, Matt, you're sleeping 3 hours a day. That's unhealthy. You're a guy who's very into fitness. You haven't worked out in 6 months.
To cut you off. 3 hours?
Yeah, it was
What's
3
wrong with you?
hours.
What's
Well,
wrong
when I
with
was
you,
going
man?
through
Come on
graduate school,
now.
it was 3 hours a day. Well, now I get a whopping 6, even though I have a 2 and 3-year-old, and it makes a huge difference. Today I only had 3.5 because my son woke me up repeatedly all night, but we're still here with a smile. But those types of things, people are coming in expecting some type of genius response, and
Right.
it just goes back to the simple
It's
things.
very
You
simple.
are what you eat, what you put in. Let food be thy medicine, and so on.
Exactly.
Go work out, and again, everything comes full circle with this.
It really is, and that's kind of like the difficult part of my job or
Mhm.
whatnot. Trying to explain to people how simple it really is. It's like they don't. How can I put it? They try to overcomplicate it,
It's
and,
true.
and it's like, no, just follow steps 1, 2, and 3, and that is it.
Hmm.
There's no special pill. There's no rocket science to this or anything. It's just 1, 2, and 3. But then, like I said, it's the overthinking that I have to like. I shared with you before. I have actually thought about going back to school to get a minor in psychology because that's part of my
I
job.
highly recommend this.
Like seriously.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much
But it
it.
is, but all these things come together. And, I know I was even laughing on a previous episode, but as a counselor, I feel like I have to fill all these roles because we're
Right.
talking about lifestyle and wellness. And, so with people, I find myself, well, I'm not physically training them. And,
Right.
I'll give them a workout routine. I'm like, but see a, personal trainer,
Right.
feel like a nutritionist sometimes,
Yeah.
don't consume 180 grams of sugar a day.
Oh
That's
God, no,
that's
that's
unhealthy.
very unhealthy.
That type of thing. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep at least. If
Right.
you can get the 9th hour, absolutely fine. I feel like an accountant. Let's balance your bank book. Let's get rid of those credit cards.
Right.
I'm like the mortgage broker, helping them figure out how to get a house. I'm a tutor. All these different things. But that's what you get because
Yes,
what
sir.
you're dealing with is interpersonal relationships. You get to know
Absolutely.
these people on a one-on-one basis,
Right.
and to a great extent, you are a mentor. You are their therapist.
Exactly. Well, I never thought of it that
You are.
way.
I saw a very interesting article, and again, it was on Facebook. Take it or leave it.
Right.
But they were even talking about how today, they're like barber shops are like the new therapists. With
Yeah.
the barbers, because here they are. And they talk about so many things. It's like the man's or woman's play. Women at the salon, or everyone can go to a barber. You know where I'm getting at.
Right.
And with that, just the conversations that you get in with people on a daily basis.
Exactly.
It can really be life changing and life altering. And I'm sure you have these conversations all the time.
No, I really do. I mean, like I said, we're not gonna put any clients out there, but the things that I know about clients, and it's kind of like, oh wow, really? And it can be like the strangest thing. I'm like, I didn't know you like stuff like that, or like, and I have one client, blank her name out, most quietest person ever or whatnot. Like, can never get any information out of her. And this is like something very small or whatnot, but then like comes out and is like, I love the Cubs. You're like, okay.
I'm a Sox fan.
Ah.
But we'll
We're
let
just go ahead
that
and
go.
just
We'll
cut
let
this
that
right
go.
now.
Yeah, cut
We're
that
just
out.
cut
All right. So where to go from there?
No, but like it's like really, and then like she's like yeah, and then from there it just started talking, and it was like really, but she tells me like sometimes like me come here, yeah, I get my workout, but I feel better because I'm just letting stuff off my chest, and I'm like okay, well,
Absolutely.
so.
Absolutely. So a great way to be able to reduce stress, be able to talk.
Right.
Probably going to put me out of a job. Now everyone's going to watch this and be like, hey, forget Dr. Matt. Let's go to Eric. He's got the conversations and the fitness here. Another thing that you talked about here as well that I think is really important to think about too is, brain cell activity. So one of the things about physical fitness that we find as well is it can actually help decrease, the onset, slow it down, of dementia, Alzheimer's, and so on. And one of the reasons for this is because what we find here is when people engage in some type of task mastery activity, in this case a task being some type of physical fitness goal. I want to go from benching 125 pounds to 130. I want to go from a 10-minute mile to a 9-minute mile. And having your eye on the prize with that type of goal, it activates so many different areas of the brain that keep you interested and intrigued that can actually have long-term effects, even for older clients.
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned that because if I could, making myself vulnerable again, I would go
always do
back
it.
and change. Not change. If I can have a time machine, I would go back and just grab my grandma and be like, "Hey, let's go for a walk," because dementia. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, right now it's kind of far too gone, but You're absolutely right about that. So
I appreciate you
yeah,
sharing that.
yeah,
And, and that is one of the things, too, when we take a look at some of the older populations and that
right.
is that, even beyond, dementia, Alzheimer's and benefits you can have there,
Mhm.
but also, the whole, if you don't use it, you lose it. So
Exactly.
getting up and walking around and being able to keep, your joints, keep your joints going,
Right.
doing different stretches can go a long way. And it's not about having to take a long walk. Again, even just getting up and walking across the
Right.
room and sitting back down. If you can't walk upstairs, that's okay. Just get up out of your
Get up,
chair, sit
sit
down.
down.
If you have the physical ability to do it,
Right.
but that goes a long way. And if you are able and you can work up to it,
Hmm.
then taking walks outside, going out with the family to the park,
Right.
concerts, ball games,
Or walk your
U.S.
dog.
Cellular Field guaranteed, right?
Or or Wrigley Field,
Well, there you
know,
go.
or
There you
Wrigley
go.
Field,
But just that whole
Wrigleyville.
uplifting experience, and again, we're with other people. And speaking about togetherness and with other people as well, a lot of the things that are offered at a lot of gyms and that are doing different exercises with the
Right.
groups like cycling class,
Right.
yoga, Pilates class, and
Mhm.
spin class, and there's so many different classes.
Right.
Here you can bring your friends, you can meet friends, people find romantic interests at these,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I've seen it happen when I used to work for LA Fitness. I've seen that quite a few times. Like they're together now. Like,
Mhm. And it's interesting just the way that brings people together. And again, having positive relationships around you. Here we are. We're all working toward a goal.
exactly,
We're all feeling good. We're all looking good. We're in this together. And that sense of
exactly.
camaraderie, it could really lift you up. And again, just
Really.
takes you to this completely different place.
No, absolutely. Um, that's kind of what I've noticed at my gym or whatnot with for my group training.
Mhm.
Like when it first started, nobody really talked to each other, but now you see them like, oh, hey, like there's actually a girl that's doing like three or four other clients' hairs now or
Mhm.
whatnot. So, I mean, no, you hit that spot on.
Good way to make some connections there and everything.
Absolutely.
And then you could also get your friendly little competitions like you and I used to
Yeah.
have back sophomore year of high school, which were great. I could still see the look on your face. Like, oh, you got 225?
Oh,
I got 230.
you got 225? Okay, I'm gonna go
I got it.
235 today.
You definitely won that competition. I'm going to give it to you. Well, another thing that I think is really important to talk about as well is pain reduction that we
Right.
can get. So one of the things that we know as well about physical fitness is it releases endorphins,
Right.
and in that release we feel better, but it also helps with pain receptors and everything
Absolutely.
too. And especially when we're talking about things like the opioid crisis that we see
Right.
today, people taking lots of painkillers,
Mhm.
going back to the very beginning, and letting exercise take the place of perhaps some of the psychiatric medication.
Right.
We can also see exercise take place of some of the pain medications that people are
Absolutely.
taking. It's kind of ironic, I gotta say, because it's that pain that hurts
Yeah,
so
the
good
pain
when
that
you're
feels
working out.
good.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, experience for myself. So I have a bulging disc
Hmm.
or whatnot. So I'm gonna use myself as an example.
Okay.
Technically, there's some exercises I really should not be doing, but I still do them anyway. But anywho, but like
You
knowing I
enjoy
have a bulging disc, I've incorporated more core exercises
it. Okay.
or whatnot. Now the bulging disc is still there, but I'm not walking around like, oh, my back, like I was like when I first got it
Hmm.
or whatnot. Another example would also be a client of mine right now. She's actually training for the Chicago Marathon or whatnot.
That's amazing.
Yeah, put her through a little leg stretching workout the other day, and then like literally, I just had her on Monday, and she's
Hmm.
like, "What did we do on last Wednesday?" She said, "Cause my legs felt great." She's
Hmm.
like, "I had like something going on." She's like, "I feel good now," or whatnot. So I was like, "So no, you hit it right on the head. Like it works. So you don't have to necessarily always pop pills or whatnot. Just sometimes there's a certain exercise that can just actually alleviate the pain for you
Oh,
or whatnot."
absolutely, and that's one of the things too. Of like ever since I'm as flat-footed as it gets. So I'm very flat-footed. I got a size 16 shoe. I got the clown foot going.
Right.
And I got it travels up to my knees, and I got bad knees. And it's kind of ironic. I'm 36 now, and I feel a lot more fit than I did at 24. And I
Right.
remember some of the knee pain I would get from walking. It was hard to go upstairs. Sometimes I would actually my knees would just buckle, and I'd
Right.
have to sit out for a bit. But
Right.
by even doing simple things, so I haven't gotten to go to the gym in a bit, and I
Right.
understand this is what we're going to talk about in part 2 of this episode.
Right.
Simple exercises you can do.
Right.
By making a concerted effort that, okay, I work in a 4-story building. So what I'm going to do for a quick exercise is walk to the top, walk down, and simple things like that have really strengthened my knees a lot to where,
right.
you know, I get the knee pain every once and again, especially
Right.
in the transition from hot to cold weather and rain. I don't know about that, you know, but it's been so much better.
Right. And let me ask you this: how's your cardiovascular now since you've been doing that?
Cardiovascular's definitely gotten better
Yeah,
since then.
that's good.
Definitely gotten better since then. That makes a big difference, and that's actually one of the things too I didn't focus on in my
Right.
earlier years, because it used to always be like, okay, bulk up, lift
Yeah,
weights,
we're
and
guys. It's all ego.
it's all it was.
It's all
It's
ego.
all it was. All ego.
All ego. Like I don't need no cardio, bro.
No, exactly,
Yeah.
but it makes such a big difference. You know, doing that, you get your heart rate up a bit.
Right.
You have a healthier heart, and then your blood flows a lot better. And you know, one of the things that's really important too. So, what do we tell people to do when they're in the middle of having an anxiety attack, a panic attack?
Breathe.
Exactly.
Just
That couldn't
breathe.
have been any better right there. Absolutely. It's breathe. And why do we encourage people to breathe?
It calms us down.
It calms you down. And it calms you down because by taking that deep breath,
Right.
you know, we're slowing everything down.
Right.
You know, we're slowing down the flow of oxygen. We're slowing down the heart rate a bit. And as we do that, it lowers down, you know, the parasympathetic system.
Right.
You know, so sympathetic sympathetic system is what gets us going. Parasympathetic slows us down.
down.
So those deep breaths, you know, activate parasympathetic, slows us down, and we can release that anxiety. And especially if you add in, you know, some counting strategy.
Yes.
You know, breathe in to 4, hold it 4, breathe out 4.
I like to
go
do
on.
the military count. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. That's my counting because, believe it or not, I have my little panic attacks, anxiety attacks too. So.
Well, that's a normal part of life.
Right.
You know, all of us experience some anxiety, and you know, the reality of it is that anxiety is, you know, something that's innate.
Right.
You know, it's something that human beings have, you know, had since the beginning of time, and it's an indication that something is wrong.
Right.
You know, but the problem in today's society, it's the way we're bred. We have so many things that are going on. You're getting 100 emails a day. You have a cell phone where you're constantly accessible. We have work deadlines, bills, and so on. That, you know, with that,
Children.
we're just constantly, you know, on the go, and we don't get that opportunity to be able to slow down.
Slow down, just breathe. Unless you get an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
It, tell,
it does.
it tells you to breathe.
Yeah, like when I'm in the middle of a session with somebody and, you know, they're crying and it's getting really intimate and it's like, stand up and walk around the room. I'm like, wait, where's time for that? It's telling me how lazy I am. Well, how about this? I know that we're going to share some type of exercise here that our viewers can be able to try at home.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, the first one would be, it's very simple.
Okay.
All you gotta do is just stand up.
All right, am I gonna be able to do
Oh,
that?
yeah, this one's very
okay.
simple. I mean,
All right.
just grab onto a chair if need
Okay.
be, or you can put your hands on to the side,
Okay.
and all you're doing is just lunges.
Okay.
Just want to just step forward. Make sure you
Alright.
want to have a 90-degree angle.
Does that
your
look 90
front.
degrees
Yeah.
here? Oh, there we go. It's almost
Keep the
falling.
balance.
All right, yeah.
90 degrees in the
Yeah,
front,
not the most
90
graceful.
degrees in the back,
Okay.
and then step back,
Okay.
and then step back forward.
Oh, is my microphone flies out? Sorry about that.
No,
Well,
you're
normally
fine.
you won't have a microphone on you when you're
Right.
doing this, right?
Yeah, so just down and back. So like when you're starting off doing these, I
Okay.
mean, if you start off and that's too difficult, just start off with 3.
Okay.
Next day, start off with 4. The day after, 5. Just build yourself up, like we said earlier, slow and steady.
You know what? I got a real life confession to make on that note. So lunges are my Achilles heel. I remember I actually did a boot camp with my wife.
Really?
It was while we were engaged. We were getting ready for our wedding and
Right.
that. We were on a fitness quest, and you know, we went in. And I remember the guy who ran the boot camp. His name was Big Will. You
Big
know,
Will.
guy. Big like you know, and you know, I would go there and I'd be able to do all the exercises, but the lunges would kill me, and we had literally just the bar, you know,
wow.
with it. And he told me, he's like, well, if you can't do that, you know, no shame whatsoever,
Right.
just do it without the bar, and
That's
just
all.
doing the exercises like we did
Right.
right there made a huge difference for me.
No, absolutely. And reason why, more likely, you spend a lot of energy when you're doing leg workouts. Maybe that's why you felt like, why is this like killing me?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Eric, it's been a true pleasure having you
Absolutely.
here on the show. I really appreciate
No,
it.
thanks for having me.
And you know, I'm looking forward to the second part where we can discuss some basic exercises that people can do at home.
Absolutely.
So for everybody else, thank you so much for viewing this episode of Mental Health Matters. Hopefully you're able to take something from it. And remember, you know, mental wellness is something that's comprised of the different components of the mind, body, spirit connection. Today we talked about body, but never underestimate the power that simple exercise can have on your life. And even if it's going to be something as simple as 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. It's important to be able to start somewhere because
Absolutely.
it can go such a long way. So with that, thank you again for viewing. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to appear as a guest on the show, please send me a message to dr.mglowiak@gmail.com. Thank you.